Welcome back to Aggie Pride, a UC Davis football podcast. It's Sunday, November 23rd. It's Thanksgiving week. You might be listening to this post-turkey, who knows? Because the Ags beat the Hornets, got a top 8 seed, have a bye, therefore do not play next weekend. And I'm here with the best wide receiver in school history, my favorite wide receiver, Dwight Smith. Dwight was posted up at a bar with Samara last night. How was that, Dwight?
Well, listen, you gotta, when you have a daughter, they tell you the daughter's in charge, and somehow we ended up at G Street, and the bartender had to turn her down from grabbing someone's beer off of the top of the bar there. But yeah, what a day! It's the day after. There's all this buildup. Brock is taking gummies to make it through the week.
That's right.
People are freaking out with what's going to happen, who's going to show up for the game. We're getting texts from guys and, all that excitement. And then what an incredible climax to that yesterday. And there's so much to unpack there. For me, it was special, obviously, to see you and the fam, and to have my fam come for the game. And it's also special to see the usual suspects, out there at Bob Biggs Field, and so many people to name. Brock did a great job of posting some stuff on Instagram, so go check that out. Lots of great pictures with folks. But there was another exciting piece, which was a lot of folks that, maybe weren't the usual suspects, made their way back to Davis for the game yesterday. It was really special for me. My mentor, Mo Mortazavi, who folks that listen to the pod, you've heard me talking about Mo quite a bit. If you listen to Plow's press conference leading up to the game, he mentioned Mo and his performance in Causeway's past. Mo made the trip from Tucson. So it was really special to spend some time with Mo, and Mo was a player at Davis. He also coached at Davis High. He was my coach at Davis High. While he played at Davis, Coach Smite, Steve Smite, was his receiver coach. I coached with Coach Smite at Davis High. And Coach Smite also coached my little brother, Peter, who's a Davis High legend. So there's all types of connectivity that was happening at the game yesterday for me, but I think for so many people. You could feel the vibe in the stadium and see people connecting and having a great time, in addition to watching some really exciting football. And then after the game, I got to go hang out with Mo and some of my high school teammates, Andrew Smith, Mauricio Davison, couple other guys. Got to see Matt Davey. Brock, you remember Matt Davey, our athletic trainer, who works at another school I won't name now, but he was also my high school athletic trainer, and he was a student athletic trainer when Mo was playing. So it's just all kinds of cool connectivity for me, man, adding a special dynamic to a really special day, and a huge Aggie victory that had everything you could ask for: the quick start, the bit of a falter, clawing back, and then the way that the game ended. So you mentioned that the game yesterday was your favorite Aggie game of all time, and I'm curious to hear you talk about why.
Well, it is the whole experience for sure. Like, the fact that we decided to go ahead and make the t-shirts and order, a good amount of them, and then realize we could have sold 200 more of these things with the amount of demand we had, which speaks to the game, like the fact that it was the last Causeway Classic, the fact that Sac State is good, the fact that we are good, the fact that it was for going to the playoffs on the line. Although after getting the 8th seed, we probably would have made the playoffs if we lost, is kind of what my gut says. But much better to win and get a bye and have probably a decently favorable draw. But yeah, getting there early, my buddy Tyler Nunez just got engaged, and him and his fiance drive up with us, and they shout out to them because they helped carry the shirts and table, and then they helped carry the stuff back and all of our baby stuff. And Kaylin and I were like scrambling with the shirts, and they were like entertaining our kids like during that time. Like, would not have been able to do it without them. We kind of looked at each other like, oh, we would not have been able to do that. But then like the minute we walk in, people start flocking us like, are you selling those? Are you selling those? And then just, the fact that we've gotten to know so many people through this has been the best part,
Yeah.
where this is a tease to what Zaire is going to talk a lot about, because for those who don't know, Zaire Collier is our guest, brought to you by Buckhorn Grill, which had a bomb spread in the tailgate. The ribs were legit, the beans were legit, uh Coach Plow's wife's jello shots were legit. And the reality that even like Coach Plow freaking wears the t-shirt in the post-game stingers down with the Doss and Jake Mayer pictures above in his office, like just looking like a G. But then the crowd, like 14,590 people, amazing environment. I talked a little ish to Dr. Wood from Sac State before the game. He was quiet on purpose. People who were wondering, he's like, "Yeah, they told me to be quiet this week." I said, "Yeah, that's probably a smart thing here," and it still didn't work. Like he talked a mad game against Montana, and it backfired. And he's like, "I'm not going to say anything this week," and it still didn't work. The reality is like it happens on the field. And so the environment of like the tailgate and getting to meet so many players and families, and then going into the game and having that environment continue in the stadium, fans actually cheering on third downs and like causing false starts, like real football fan things that we experienced last week in Bozeman. And then, yeah, like the tale of three games, Dwight. I mean, we go up 14-0, then we get outscored 27-3 over the next two quarters. And when they went up 27-17, I mean, that's that is that is the last touchdown that makes it 27-3 run. Like we're watching basketball. It's hard to come back from runs like that. And then we talk about it with Zaire. Danny Alfaro texted about it. Everyone in the stadium saw it. The moment when we were down 10 and Mo Bamba comes on and they get hyphy on the sidelines and everyone's on the field dancing, it just felt like we were confident and not tight. And it felt like all of the talk and all of the off season and all of the Instagram posts and branding and things that Sac State has done, like it just was an enormous amount of pressure that squad had to play with all year. And I do feel for them. Like they're just humans like us. Like they're not enemies. They're not bad people. Like they're just trying to win and trying to go to FBS in the way that they think they can do it. And it didn't work. And we appeared to be a better coach team. We appeared to be a more disciplined team. We appeared to be a team that was more unified, and a team that was going to be unified regardless of the result, which is one of the big things in this era of Coach Plow's head coach tenure. Detach from the results and find joy. And that moment was the moment that exemplified that. And I think, the bomb to Batu times three, where he just drops it in the bucket to the end zone that we were all sitting in, was the difference in the game. I mean, Cardell Williams was 3 of 12 for 17 yards, and he did run for like 50 yards and a touchdown. But Caden Pinnick was 70% completion percentage on 30 passing attempts, 306 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Did have 2 turnovers. One of them was probably his fault. The other one, who knows? But he did it. He was the much superior passer and the much superior quarterback. And I did a poll. I'll kick it back to you, Dwight, before the game, and we had a million people vote on it. What position group is going to define this game, or what entity, or you know whatever a concept? And most people chose ground game as the defining feature. And Sac State rushed for over 300 yards, but it was not huge gash plays other than the one Rodney Hammond touchdown. We made them earn it. They couldn't throw the ball for shit. Um, it came down to the quarterbacks. And for me, it came down to coaching. And the two P's are always it for me, Plow and Pinnick. And they ended up winning out. So a million things to say about it. I want to talk about the defense too, but just now, like your thoughts on the game, players that stood out, things that you were really impressed with from the Ags.
We've got a new home for Aggie Pride, a UC Davis football podcast. Visit AggiePridePodcast.com. It's the hub for everything. All our episodes, ways to subscribe for early access, and our brand new Aggie Pride Classic hats in navy or beige. While you're there, sign up so you never miss an update, and follow us on all our socials for game day content, throwbacks, and behind the scenes. And don't forget, like, follow, and share the pod so we can keep growing the Aggie fan community. This episode is sponsored by the Larison Real Estate Team, Bob and Jan Larison. You already know the name. They've been incredible supporters of UC Davis football, this podcast, and of course, they're Lance's parents, now cheering him on as he suits up for the New England Patriots. Off the field, Bob and Jan are one of the top real estate teams in the region, helping folks buy and sell across Idaho and Eastern Oregon. Whether it's a home, land, or investment property, they bring experience, hustle, and heart to every deal. So if you're looking to make a move or just want honest guidance, check out LarisonTeam.com or follow them on Instagram at Larison Real Estate. Huge thanks to Bob and Jan for backing Aggie Pride.
Bank like a champion when you bank with University Credit Union. UCU is the official credit union of UC Davis and is committed to giving every UC Davis student, faculty, staff, and alum a financial advantage. From low loan rates and financial coaching to high savings rates, including our new Elite Certificate Special, University Credit Union helps you reach your financial goals. Visit ucu.org for details. Use promo code Aggie Pride Podcast to get started. University Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
Yeah, that just to say that moment, and everyone in the stadium noticed it. And I think it happened more than once, actually. I think it was 2 times that on a timeout I looked over, and it's in a really challenging part of the game. And the entire UC Davis team, coaches included, are just having a great time. This blob of energy, like that's somehow coming together. And it's easy to look hindsight 2020 with the outcome, with the result, and be like, okay, but it is true, and I think, Plow mentioned it in his press conference as well. Regardless of the result, that speaks to the DNA of the team. And it really was a defining moment, I think, of this entire season, because I'll tell you why. Because if you look at the photo or you look at the video, there is a crutch being held up into the air by some injured player who's also in the middle of that. And how perfect is that for this team that's been so decimated by injuries to be like rejoicing together? Someone's in there holding up one of those, a crutch in the air. It just encapsulates for me the culture and the DNA of this team. But the game, what a game. I mean, you summarize it. I won't go back through it. Couple guys and moments that stood out to me. We were sitting on the berm with our fams, and there's a couple times there where we made eye contact, and it's like, oh boy, is this going to be the defining story, right? Which we've seen kind of bubble up, certain unforced errors that an inability to execute in certain moments that completely flip a game against good competition. And, I'm looking at you and I'm still holding hope because it's not over, and then I'm looking over at the sideline and seeing the energy there. And I started to believe if we could get one more stop. So I just want to shout out Blue Force, because again, Blue Force bent, but it didn't break. Like you said, there's the yardage that Sac State ran for, but like you said, there was a lot of plays that really showed that we were going to make it difficult for them. And so Blue Force, again, did enough, had the massive turnover. Jaden Stanley breaking up a pass, almost getting a pick himself. And then Ty Richardson coming in for that that big to set us up and give us an opportunity, which we weren't able to capitalize on at that moment. But then the defense is the one that had to win the game at the end. So we were on the concourse looking over people's shoulders as Sac State is somehow thinking that they had enough time to run the ball all 15 or 16 plays at the end of the game, except for throwing it on the last one. And that's just a head scratcher, because coming in, we had watched that Idaho game where Williams won the game with his arm at the end. And so I was like, okay, we're going to see a mix. We're going to see a mix. Can Cardell make it happen? And the play calling, whatever it was, just didn't give him that opportunity, which would have been interesting. So it was a really, the game had everything. And, it even had the Mitch Dixon hurdle, which was awesome. He's got a flip book of those now. And just want to shout out Mitch, because I think like that saw him in the defense and offensive huddles, just getting folks fired up throughout the game in true captain fashion. And so, yeah, man, that was to come down on the field after that game felt as exciting for me as when we beat Idaho last year and they were top 5 team, right? And some of the great home field moments that we've been able to be a part of on the pod. This definitely feels like it's up there.
Yeah, I mean, I think going back to the people and getting to know all of these people involved and in and around the program has just been amazing. And one of the tidbits in our insider scouting report, sponsored by Rival Snacks and the great team there, that gives you all these yummy treats that have 8 grams of plant protein and that are actually healthy for you. Don't binge chip eat during the Niners game tomorrow. Go get some Rival Snacks and put something healthy into your body. Corey Golagowski, Sam's dad, and Marty Karad, who are our OG faves. They're kind of like entering Larison status at this point. They and Bob was there, in case you're wondering. But they were saying, like, Sam was telling them, hey, we're not going to have a bunch of tackles today, Dad. Like, the game plan is for us to hold him up so that Jackson and Nate can run around and make plays. And I said it last week. I've kind of been sprinkling it in each week. But Jackson Severs is becoming a dude. And I'm just loving watching this guy play linebacker, undersized, flies around. He had a big time hit on the sidelines on a Cardell Williams run at one point in the game, but double digit tackles, I think, again last night. And he's just been so important to the defense since Porter Connors has been out. And shout out to the Connors bros on senior day yesterday, and just seeing their folks heading down, just bittersweet, man. Those guys were studs. They are studs. They meant so much to our defense. They still mean a lot to our defense. I know they're great teammates, but Jackson has been great. And then Nate Ruchina, who, is such an important player to our defense. Like, when he's humming, it really is a different dimension for our defense. And he was on his A game. You pointed it out during the game. Like, he ended up with 12 tackles leading our defense, but he just made some really tough tackles against a really impressive big back, the Pitt transfer, Rodney Hammond Jr., who I thought was just tremendous, like thunder thighs, and just ran very hard and had a bunch of carries. I think 22 carries, 140 yards. Well, I thought we did fine against him, honestly, but 22 carries, 140 yards, that's a great game still for him. But those were the moments. And then, I would just say, like, I was telling Caitlin last night, she was just, I mean, I got to a point last night where Caitlin's like, just, dear Lord, just go to bed. I'm like, dear Lord, bro,
Yeah,
I am so
I
sick of
couldn't go to
hearing all
bed, man.
these. Yeah, like, just you're so annoying, Brock. Stop talking about all this. I do not care as much as you. I will go. She's such a baller. She's like,
She's
I
a
can't.
trooper.
Go to bed. I said my 2 favorite moments of the season Helping Jaden Stanley up when he was banged up last week at Montana State. He's like on the sideline right in front of us, and he like wasn't really getting up because he was banged up. And I just like threw my hand down there, like yanked him up, was like, "Go get in there!" And he like hobbled back on the field as Montana State was driving in the fourth quarter, and just like kind of getting like a connection during the game. It didn't matter, but it mattered to me. Like just man, those moments where you're helping someone up or where you're like, kind of, you can do it, man. Like, let's go, get back out there. And then the other moment was yesterday. Everyone was on the field celebrating. Winston Williams was on the bench alone, and I was just drawn to him. And last time I had an opportunity to see him, I kind of froze and felt a little uncomfortable. I kind of felt like I don't know what to say, and was in a better mental space to just like kind of go over and check in with him and say, "How are you doing, man?" Because he looked sad to me, honestly, and I would be sad in some ways too. And he didn't say that. He was like, "Doing great, man. So happy for this moment. So blessed with my teammates." Da, da, da. Like he's just a very sweet human being. And so just kind of getting that connection and like you know, a layered moment for him was
Yeah.
really cool too. So, were there any moments yesterday for you? I know you talked a little bit about running into Mo, but any storylines even during the game or things that really stood out to you? I mean, they did a story on Batu and his impact or
Yeah.
Caden Pinnick. Any kind of one storyline really jump out to you as something that impacted you?
Well, a couple things really quick, and that's awesome to hear about that helping Jaden up last week. Yeah, the Winston Williams thing, you think about all the guys, the bittersweet nature of not being able to contribute in the ways you want to. And quite honestly, like the bittersweet nature of life in that way. And it was cool to see as the Causeway trophy was getting hoisted by players to see, I believe it was Mitch, hand it off to Winston and Winston give that thing a kiss. That's just special because, he's such a huge part of everything that's happening. But a couple quick threads here to connect just really quickly on the game and performers in the game that I didn't get to cover. I ran into number 34, one of my favorite running back numbers on the field after the game, and just dapped him up and told him to keep doing his thing. I'm really excited. Was really excited to see how he looked out there yesterday. Kaya Sia, so I'm talking about. And I said, hey man, can't wait for the time when we get to see even more of what you can do. The more I see of him, the more excited I am for his role as it expands into the future. And I also got to say what's up to Jay Fish. Wow, what a workhorse and what a contributor. He got the hat trick yesterday and just all over the field. You mentioned Caden Pinnick. Got to say what's up 12 on the field yesterday as well, which was cool. And this was all with Samara, and she was like, I want to see the players. I don't want to talk to your old friends. I want to go see the guys in the shoulder pads, which is sweet because she's 3 and she's already loving it. Caden, I think he was 80% completion percentage yesterday. I believe it was 24 of 30. And so just like, stellar performance there. Obviously the turnovers, get those cleaned up. And then, Scott Nixon, receiver number 24, a blocker, getting more reps. But yesterday had a huge catch. I believe it was on third down, converted a big third down for us. And it doesn't show up on the stat sheet, 1 reception for 8 yards. But, as a guy who had to fill in different roles as a receiver, loved to see that, it's a big play in the game. It's a big play in the game. Stacey Dobbins still doing his thing, had another one of his big, like, contested acrobatic catches. And that wasn't the only reception. He was all over the field as well. So like all these dudes, everyone's contributing in all the ways. And it really has me really optimistic about how this team, again, has not played their best game yet. And we get to play at least one more week, and they get to practice for 2 more weeks, which we're going to talk about here in a second. But one storyline that I want to mention, my little brother, TJ King, he is as close to a little brother, without having a biological connection. He was my little brother when I was a senior. He was a freshman coming onto the team, and we've walked through life together. And he got to make it back, and he had yet to meet Samara. So how special was it? You talk about Aggie pride, to have him get to meet my daughter. It's like, Samara, this is one of your uncles who, still hasn't met you yet. And for him to get to talk to her, and for her to show him her art and do all that on the berm as the Ags are getting the job done against Sac State. Yeah, TJ, really excited that you made it to the game, and getting to have Yodit meet Mel, and have you both meet Samara was really special. So that's a storyline that's special for me, in addition to the Mo storyline, because as folks who listen to the podcast know, I wouldn't be an Aggie. I wouldn't be on UC Davis football Aggie if it weren't for Mo Mortazavi and his influence in my life. So to have him come back, and for him to be there for this game was really special. So incredible day all around, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool running into TJ. I still remember like the moment when you were named like his big brother, and he's the pride of Bishop O'Dowd, man. Dude from Oakland who, has like a rich tradition in his family with football, and obviously his brother playing at Washington and in the league, being a successful cornerback. And, growing up, Bishop O'Dowd had like some epic playoff battles against Clayton Valley that I would go watch as a kid, and just looked up to a lot of dudes from that program. It was a really well-run program at the time, and they've been good off and on recently and whatnot, but cool to see him. Cool to see Shimon Wright, who is from Antioch and actually coaching at Pittsburgh now, and they almost beat De La Salle for the NCS championship this week. We were talking, it was fun to talk to him about that game, but he's a dude, great guy.
That's
And
Brock. That's Dr. Shimon,
you're
right?
right. You're right. You're
Yeah.
right. It's legit. And so, guys like Khalid Jones, who's been working at
Yep.
Google, crushing it, and he's got a kid now, and running into Bobby, and just like, hearing about his life and stuff that's going well for Bobby Erskine, who's been crushing it in med device sales for a while. So just awesome to see what everyone's doing. And again, we say it like, anyone listening wants to like change careers or get connected, like reach out to us, reach out to the network, reach out to Josh Flushman. Like, people are there. The network is rich, man. Like, it's a really good Aggie football network. And so I think professionally, like, we want people to do well and help people, and be the change that we all want to see in all the areas of life, but also like, provide for your families and be successful. And that's not everything, right? Like, money in and of itself is not the answer. We all know that. So it's a slippery slope thing, and yet we do want to provide, and we do want to be successful, and work hard and do well there. So yeah, just great stuff, man. And I think like a quick peek to the future. We will be the 8th seed and host on December 6th at 12 noon on ESPN Plus, the second round matchup in the FCS playoffs against either the Central Connecticut State football team, who I don't even know their freaking mascot, dude. It looks like a devil. I'm trying to find it on their website. Or we will be playing the Rhode Island. I don't freaking know their mascot either. These are teams that I don't even know the mascot to, which is saying a lot, Dwight. Not that they're bad or anything, just that we have no recollection of these teams. I know Rhode Island goes by Rhodey. That's their
The
like kind
roadies.
of nick.
Yeah. And the
But
CCSU is the Blue Devils, which, you
okay.
think might be challenging for me, but wrong Blue Devils. So we're Ags all the way.
Yeah. Good call. And then Rhode Island, we'll find you jump on that one too. Find out what the Rhode Island mascot is. But I feel like these are going to be conferences, and I know that Rhode Island's in the A10, I believe, for basketball, but they're in the CAA for football, which I don't think is the strongest conference. And then um, Central Connecticut State is in the NEC, and again, like this is going to take quite a bit of research from us and a chance to even like watch the first round matchup, though, dude. Like,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
chill this week and like work on other stuff and not be balls to the walls on this because the kids need to go eat turkey. So do we. You're going to Oregon. I'm going to Oakland. Like, we're gonna have a good time. But yeah, I think we should just give like a thought on the playoffs, where we came out in the seeding, and like the road moving forward for this team.
Yeah, so it's the Rhode Island Rams. And I think like just by what I've caught over this season listening to varying podcasts, um, they are, because there's a podcast out there blanking on the name, that's run by two guys who used to who played at Rhode Island. And they have I think it's Hack City. I don't know if you've come across that one, but they're former roadies. And so I've got to hear them talk about that team a little bit. I believe that that team might be the stronger of the two, but it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. And yeah, the brackets are interesting. Obviously, we're in there with the Bison, and so there, you don't want to look ahead, but there's a potential date in Fargo. We were talking about, hey, last year we ended up in a dome. Could happen again this year if we handle business on the 6th. And so I think there's Illinois State, I believe, who's matching up against a team whose mascot I don't recognize for their first round to see who goes to Fargo. But interesting that Illinois State is in the mix. Folks will remember our second round matchup with Illinois State last year. From what I've seen, they're a much stronger team this year than they were last year, so that's interesting. But yeah, I mean, it's exciting. I don't think, between you and myself, and we were texting with Danny and Nick, like, I don't know if we would have expected this. I would have been really curious to be in the room where it happened. Obviously the last
Yeah.
NCAA projection had us at 10. And so then over I think it was 2 weeks in between, we moved up 2 spots. So it's just, that's very interesting. I'm not critiquing it at all. I think that, we are in the top third of the playoff teams as I look at the teams in there. And then Mercer landed at 6. And so you wonder about how the Mercer dynamic might have played into the decision, among other things. But I'm looking at this path, man, and my feeling is bring it on. It's exciting.
Yeah. 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 I mean, I think, okay, we had already lost to Idaho State when the committee put us at 10. I think we were at 5 or 6 in the first go around. And so for me, we're going off of what a lot of just the pundits are saying, like the Sam Herders, the Zach McKinnells of the world, people who are taking the time to look at all 130 teams and their resumes. And there was and even Brennan Marion, I listened to his full post-game conference, and it was interesting to hear him really try to sell Sac State on why they should be in the playoffs. It really wasn't the worst criteria. And, I guess criteria that, yeah, he was saying they felt like they had earned a spot because of being in the Big Sky and being 5-3 in conference and playing a really tough schedule. And so I do think like they put a lot of credence into our strength of schedule. We don't know for sure if the Mercer game had an impact. It had some impact, though, even subconsciously, right? And then if you think of a team like Harvard getting upset, like there were some people who were saying, oh, that could hurt us if we lose because maybe Yale's going to make it too. Well, the reality is like Harvard losing bumped them out of a seed. And so it put us in a position where we could bump up. Because you think about it, like we played Montana State, okay, they did not penalize us for losing in Bozeman at all. And then we beat Sac State. So
Right.
after being the 10 seed,
Right.
we lost decently to the 2 seed. And then we handled a very talented, unranked FCS program like Sac State in a rivalry game. And I think they just gave us a lot of respect. I mean, I've said this. I said this to people yesterday. I was like, I think we're a top 5-6 team in the country. That doesn't change from 6 weeks ago when we were saying that. Like, it's still probably the same. Like, look at the rest of FCS, like Tennessee Tech's the 13 seed. Dude, we'd run that team off the field. Like, there's teams out there where I'm like, we'd run that team off the field. And so I just think it's a top heavy subdivision. It just is. And so, I mean, you don't even know Southeastern Louisiana's logo, who's playing Illinois State, because why would you need to know it? And they're the 16th best FCS school in the country. And we're like, I don't know that logo. Like, I used to play with them on our NC2A like 12 years ago. And yet I haven't seen that logo since playing video games, Dwight. So for me, I'm really happy with the draw. I think it's better than we could have imagined. But after seeing it, now our minds can like kind of conform to the idea like this makes sense. We are that good. We should get a top 8 seed. We lost 2 FCS games, you know? What could have it been? But it is what it is. And I think I'll finish with like, let's take care of business in a couple weeks. And like, we are going to be on that plane to Fargo. And I want to see that environment. And, you know, North Dakota, the, man, they changed their mascot. I can't think of their new mascot, but the Fighting Hawks
The
now.
Fighting Hawks.
They gave the Bison everything they could handle a couple weeks ago. You and I watched that game. And so being indoors is a chef's kiss for us. Like, you put our freaking speedy short guys on that turf, let's go. I want me some Jay Fish on that turf. I want me some Stacey Dobbins, some Sam Batu, some Caden Pinnick. Like, give me all the speed on that turf and like no pressure whatsoever. Let it rip. But a lot of work to do before that, like a Rhode Island team or a Central Connecticut State team that's going to come in and you know, be a different type of matchup that we'll get to learn a lot about this week. But our children need us. We need to go, but do not go anywhere if you're listening to the pod, because you have an awesome interview with Zaire Collier, who we were just like blown away impressed with. But Dwight, I will give you the final word of anything from yesterday or looking forward that you feel like you want to, sponsored by BPM and J. Look forward, get your trusts and wills and your life together. Reach out to Scott Justin's former Aggie Pack MC and Cal Aggie alumni president. That stuck out to you.
I think we covered it, man. I mean, what a special time. Relationships are important. Was talking to a buddy of mine, Carlos Carter, really a mentor of mine, who was just reminding me in our conversation that you know, we got to choose life, you know, and choose to be in people's lives. And I think seeing all these relationships that rallied for, you know, the last Causeway yesterday got me fired up to do that. And just it shows you this universe of UC Davis football, this Aggie Pride universe is really special. And I think the sky's the limit of what we can do, and we get a chance to make another run at it. So start to look at those calendars, make sure you can get out there on the 6th. We'll come back with more breakdown, obviously, but if you don't hear from us, or if we don't get to see you through this pod before then, I hope everyone's able to enjoy some time with the people closest to you over this next week. If you're getting to take some time off, and, you know, tell people how you feel about them, man. Tell people you love them, you know, because nothing's guaranteed. And we got to experience a lot of joy yesterday, obviously in the result, but really in the relationships around this pod and around UC Davis football. So that's what I got.
Yeah, I love it. I think my final word is, you know, December 2nd is Tuesday at midnight. My short documentary about former UC Davis football player Trevor Facey is going to be live. And so I have a lot of work to do on it still. And when I got the text when I was teaching Sunday school this morning from Danny, it was like right before church started. And he was like, we're the 8 seed by, or no, he just said 8 seed ? By. And I didn't believe it. And I was like, I can't check my phone. I got to be present with these kids. And my phone was blowing up, right? And I'm like, did we really just get the 8th seed? Are you freaking kidding me? Like, there was something in the back of my mind that thought we might be on the road next week. Like, that would be terrible, but like, there's a chance. It swung the complete other direction that I did not think it was going to go. And I think seeing the team's reaction on social, like, there's probably a little bit of surprise in there from them too. I mean, even Plow, we're going to need you here next week on social yesterday. Like,
Yeah.
in 2 weeks, I meant. But like, for me, it gives me this week to like really just focus on finishing that documentary, like honoring his story as best as I can. There's things that I need help on with that. So just prayers up that like I would honor it the best I can, and that we can all spend time with our families, like enjoy Thanksgiving, rest, you know, not to get too churchy, but really good sermon a few weeks ago on rest. I'll just call it rest for the sake of this podcast, and just on how going into a week rested, which my family and I have been trying to do on Sundays, like not having our phones out, not working, not doing any work, and just feeling that the last couple weeks into the work week. Oh my gosh, dude, like clear headed, more grounded, more at peace, just better decision making, less anger, less, impulsiveness, all the things. And it's like, our team gets an opportunity to do that. Like they get to go rest. I heard Saban say like when they had big layoffs between these bowl games, he would give them way more time off than other coaches, because he just felt like, what am I going to practice for 30 days in a row? And so, be interesting to see what the schedule's like for the guys this week. Talking to Zaire, it sounds like they're going to get to go home, so like getting to go home and spending time with people you love with the anticipation of coming back. So everyone make sure you come back for the second half of the episode with Zaire. He is the dude. Dwight is also the dude. And thanks for doing this, man. It's been a blast. I feel like it's been a better rhythm last handful of weeks too, having you back. So good to see you and Samara and OD yesterday, and looking forward to hopefully going to Fargo together, dude. I think let's start planning on that thing.
It's happening. Appreciate you as well, man. Cannot wait to see the finished product of your documentary. I just know it's going to be incredible and super special for Trevor, but also for all of us that get to see it. So, yeah, man. Love you.
Yeah, love you too, man. All right, have a good one.
All right. Peace. With over 55 years of experience helping families and businesses navigate life's legal twists and turns, the law firm of Bold, Pausner, Maddow, Nelson, and Judson is a proud partner of the Aggie Pride podcast. Whether you're starting a family, managing your assets, or facing the loss of a loved one, BPMNJ is there to guide you through some of life's toughest transitions with clarity, compassion, and care. They assist clients with estate planning and also support families dealing with incapacity, elder law, probate and trust administration, conservatorships, and civil litigation. The firm is managed by Craig Judson and his son, Scott Judson, former Aggie Pack MC and past president of the Cal Aggie Alumni Association. With offices in Walnut Creek and Sacramento, BPMNJ serves clients throughout California, bringing trusted legal guidance wherever it's needed. And here's something special for our listeners. Mention this podcast when you book your free consultation at bpmnj.com, and you'll receive $500 off a comprehensive estate plan. Bold, Pausner, Maddow, Nelson, and Judson. Powered by Aggie Pride.
This episode is proudly sponsored by Next Level Sports, delivering the best youth sports experience. If you have a young, aspiring athlete in 1st through 7th grade, this is your chance to get on the field with Next Level flag football at UC Davis. All teams are coached by a current UC Davis Aggies football player, giving kids real mentorship from the same student athletes who practice and play on the same field within the Aggies football program. All activity takes place at UC Davis Health Stadium, so you get the full game day experience every week. Whether your participant is brand new to the sport or already obsessed with football, Next Level focuses on skill building, teamwork, and growth. It's an incredible way to build confidence, make friends, and learn from true role models. Registration for the 2026 Next Level Spring Flag Football and Winter Volleyball seasons at UC Davis are now open. Spots are going fast, so sign up today at nextlevelsports.com. Give your athlete the best youth sports experience. Celebrate National Career Development Month with the Cal Aggie Alumni Association. Throughout November, CAAA hosts a variety of events to help elevate your career and grow your Aggie network. Learn more by visiting alumni.ucdavis.edu/events.
The Aggie Football Fund provides essential gap funding for the UC Davis football program, empowering the team to access vital resources for player development and program success. It also reconnects and engages former football alumni to maintain the legacy of Aggie pride and perpetuity. Through direct and flexible support, the AFF bridges funding gaps while fostering a thriving alumni community. Visit AggieFootballFund.com for more information.
Welcome back to Aggie Pride, a UC Davis football podcast. My voice is gone, and our guest probably is dealing with some fatigue after yesterday's epic last Causeway Classic victory. I'm here with our starting center, Zaire Collier. Zaire, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm blessed. Can't complain. Just left our banquet, and our award ceremony and the selection show. So just seeing the bye week. So that's what I'm excited about. So yeah.
Dude, I would say probably a shock to everyone. I mean, since you said it, we can start there. But we kind of chatted before we clicked record. Like, we're gonna weave our way in and
Yeah.
out of all sorts of things today because this has been long overdue. We've wanted to have you on for a long time. But let's just start with like the current moment you're in. Like, you just came off this win. You've had a crazy morning, like you said. You had the banquet, the selection show, probably saw some family. Just like take us into your mind right now. Like, what's running through your head now that you found out that you guys are the 8th seed?
Biggest thing for me is just for the boys. We've been preaching it pretty much all week. Obviously coming off a loss at Montana State, hit a little bit of a rough patch into the year, but just our resilience as a team in the last 24 hours. I mean, if you were at the game, obviously you see our sideline down 10, we're all turned up having fun. So like just seeing that, man, it's like it really is for the boys. So like 24 hours has just been amazing. As quote unquote hectic as it has been, it's every moment's been enjoyable. And then just this morning, being able to get the 8th seed, the bye week, kind of just coming in, seeing how they're going to seed us and what it was, we know how good we are and we know what we put on tape. So, and then, not only having a home game, but having the bye week, giving us some more time. A lot of guys get to go home, see their family for Thanksgiving. So, yeah, we're just really excited, man. More football.
Yeah, that was gonna be tricky if you guys were home because yeah, a holiday week.
Yeah.
Don't know who you're playing. I mean, some people were like, "Do you think we're gonna host next week, or do you think we're gonna have to travel?" And I was like, "Oh, we'll for sure host." But then to find out this morning, like I'm literally teaching Sunday school and my phone is blowing up, and I'm wanting to check my phone. I check it for a millisecond, and one of the guys I played with is like, 8th seed, first round bye. But then I quickly put my phone back in. I'm like, okay, I got to be present with these kids right
Yeah.
now. And my phone is just blowing up. I'm like, did we really get the 8th seed? So was that a surprise to you, or did you think there was a chance that you guys could get a top 8
I
seed?
mean, again, we always think there's a chance. We weren't necessarily too concerned about the seeding. We're more so just getting in the dance. However things work out, they work
Yeah.
out. Obviously, the higher the seed, the better. The positioning, whatever it is, that helps. But like, it wasn't a priority. Obviously, the boys were juiced. You see the video. We're all excited. But yeah, no, it was always like wherever they seed us, we're gonna play regardless. But it wasn't like, oh, we're surprised or we expected a certain spot. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's work our way back to the game. So, I mean, we're doing the podcast Sunday afternoon, but like let's kind of make our way back in time. So tell me about like the selection show. Like, where were you guys? What was that like? Like, what were the conversations like just about other teams in the bracket or what you guys were feeling coming into that selection show?
Selection show started at 9 a.m. this morning for us West Coast time. So just coming in, I know we were ranked 14th or something like that, or 12. I don't know where exactly, but I know we were outside the top 10 coming into it. So, really outside of that, we're just kind of seeing where they're going to put us. If we had a home game first round, if we're going somewhere where we're traveling to, just seeing how it was. We had it where we had our banquet, our ballroom that we have on campus. So the mood was cool. As far as the conversations, it really wasn't about anyone else or like who we're gonna play. It was more so like, oh, are we home? Are we not? Are we traveling? And then where to?
Yeah.
But yeah, then just as you see the numbers go down. We see 1, 2. Oh yeah, everyone keeps going, and we see 8, and then we look and it's a Sam Batu touchdown. It's, oh, that's us. And so we're like, oh, sweet. So yeah, that was kind of the mood. Everyone's excited, but again, we weren't necessarily surprised or shocked or, oh my gosh. It was just, we're excited to have another week with the boys. So
Yeah. That's cool. So then you had the banquet afterwards. Tell us about that. How'd that go?
just, getting to honor some of the, leaders of our team, guys who kind of had great regular seasons, some coaches, get together with the family. I'm not gonna say who won certain awards or none of that, but like, it was just a great experience for us to kind of recap a little bit of the regular season and then also transition to, the second season of the year. So, playoffs. So that's it was fun though, good vibes, you know, just again for the boys, just Aggie pride. Um, who was there? I believe Eason was there. Bronson was there. So a lot of legends in the house. So it was just fun. It was
Cool.
good vibes. Good vibes.
Yeah. Out of so we've talked about this, some of the old timers, I guess I would already put myself in that category. Like we've talked about not really realizing when we were playing some of the history. And honestly, if I'm being straight up honest, like when we would watch some of the old time videos and stuff, it wouldn't always land with us. We're like, okay, like it's a different time though. Like we were D1, it was like when we were first D1. And so it just felt like at times like we didn't always connect with it. I think later into my career, I started to more and more. We had guys um, like Mike Bellotti, who was the University of Oregon head coach, come back and speak with us. We had Coach Soker come back and speak with us. Coach Bronson retired when I was there. Coach Biggs was in his second to last year, my senior year. So he was towards the end of his tenure. And I felt it from Coach Biggs. Like he felt like kind of a legendary figure, just the way he carried himself. Later in his coach career, I feel like he adopted a little bit more of like the CEO head coach who was, he wasn't calling the plays like Plow does, but he
Right.
was managing the coaches well. And I always had a lot of respect for him. Are there any guys that you have gotten to know or like any, former players or former coaches that like something about their story or something about what they've shared with you has stuck and it feels like you kind of been able to grasp some of that history?
I think it's Coach Biggs, 100%. Every time I see him,
Really?
yeah, every time I see him, he's the same, cordial, casual, laid back, doesn't like to say too much. Obviously you see him off to the side, but hey, big fella, how you doing, man? Great game, man. Good practice. Way to lead him. There was a moment during fall camp this year. It's just us in the stadium, and he heard every call that we had made up front, and it was we had some confusion in the backfield. Like, hey, what's the protection? And you just hearing the dialogue between the O line, quarterback, running back. Hey, we're gonna do this. They shift. Just seeing that, and then hearing him talk about it after was pretty sick to hear. But just, I think the biggest thing with not just Biggs, but all the legends and the legacy and Aggie Pride as a whole is that we're getting to see it in real time. Having legends around speaking, and not only that, but seeing the culture. It's obviously football has changed, but the culture is the culture. And just to see how it
Yeah.
not only has been passed down, but it's to continue to work, I think has been huge for not only myself, but our team as a whole. And I think that's what keeps, the connection and the history strong and thriving as we move forward.
Yeah. That's cool to hear, man. Well, crazy game. For those who are listening, a lot of the listeners were probably there because there was almost 15,000 people there. That crowd was electric. I know that you guys could hear it down on the field, and just for me, I posted this last night. I was like, that was my all-time favorite Aggie game. Just something about it, like potentially a winner go home for either school, and the last Causeway Classic ever at home, with just two really talented teams. You guys pull out the win, 31-27. Like crazy games are like kind of ebbs and flows. You guys started fast, and then they jumped on it for a bit, and then you guys, you already talked about the moment that I feel like really encapsulated the difference between kind of their sideline, probably feeling the pressure, being a little tight, maybe not as unified as our sideline, which you guys were just content in the moment, even down 10, like just being together. And so talk to us about just the game from like your perspective, like running the show for the offense at the center position, like even some of the matchup from those Sac State D linemen, which I know were some talented guys. What was the game like for you?
I mean, up front, just coming in the game, we knew they were very talented. Obviously their size is what jumps out to you on paper. But we did know like they did struggle, lining up to certain things, and assignment wise, they can get, a little gap unsound. So just from my perspective, just trying to get all five guys and then Caden on the right page. That's kind of how I looked at it. Fresh eyes every play. We prepared for XYZ. Hey, they may not show XYZ. So just keeping things cordial and steady throughout the whole game was the biggest thing. And then obviously, we hit a rough patch offensively, but even with that, we understood that the things that were stopping us were us. So it wasn't a panic mode or anything. Everything that happened was in our control, we felt, offensively. And then, we trust our defense no matter what. So, at times it was, they might have scored 2-3 times in a row, but again, even defensively, those 2-3 times, they're earning every last yard. So it wasn't a down our mind, even down 10, up 14, like how the outcome was going to be, because we trusted each other, and the bond, and it's taken months and years of connections and all that. But as the game flowed, just the energy, I think the crowd was rocking the whole night. We felt it as the players, even down 10. Like I think Ty Richardson's pick, following a touchdown, I believe it was. Like that was one of those moments where it's like you can't you can't replicate that. But yeah, just like we knew the green team, we knew they were very talented, but talent only works and gets you so far. Not just with them, but just for all sports. And we trusted our process. We fell back on our process, and everyone doing their 111th. But that was the biggest thing. And then obviously the moment, Mo Bamba starts playing, and the whole team's jumping and rocking. So obviously that moment. Ever since then, it just it some things you can't explain, but it's legit the flow state, as far as the team. And it wasn't like an individual's flow state. It was all 110 and the 20, 30 coaches, everyone in the box, the crowd, like everyone was really connected. And when you have that, it's hard to go wrong, regardless of the situation that or the environment you're in. Is just, you can't replicate that. So it was pretty awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I had a buddy texting this morning, and he had taken a picture. I'll send it to you, although you probably got other content coming your way too. But he had a picture of you guys down there,
Yeah.
during that moment, and his text was like, "This was the moment that I knew like we're gonna be okay," and he was saying like we still believe we were gonna win, like we didn't feel the pressure, like guys were connected, like you said. And then I kind of had the thought of, you guys talk so much, and Coach Plow talks so much about like detaching from results and like not being worried about the result. And I was like, hey man, like they might have just been so united and together, like no matter what happens, like they're in it together. Like they're not worried win or lose. Like
Yep.
they're enjoying it and finding joy in every moment. And it's interesting that music even, and like a specific song,
Yeah.
can help like be that tiny catalyst to like the human experience, to help motivate us. Like we know this, but we talk about like game day atmosphere and all the things that like UC Davis needs to like get on that level of all the other schools. And I was in Bozeman. I saw that environment. Like It's all those things, right? Like, it's a hella good crowd. It's a good DJ. It's a good announcer. It's a good dance team. It's a good student section. It's good alumni. It's good strength conditioning with Coach Burke. It's good position coaches.
Yep.
It's good communication from the O-line. Like, it is everything. So I reached out to some of your teammates and I was like, hey man, throw me a question for Zaire. And Ernesto Nava, whose story is a cool one,
Yep.
sent a good one that I wanted to read. He said, what does he feel like is the thing he's most improved on from being a first-year starter to a second-year starter?
Ooh. Side note, good question. Now that's my boy. That's my brother. I think for me the biggest thing is two things. I'd say confidence, and then my response to my poise. I feel like my freshman year, or not my freshman year, my first year starting, first game ever, both my first play, my first start collegiately was at Cal. And, obviously being 19, you have a lot of doubts, you might get beat. So, like, things can, steamroll really fast. And I think now this year, just understanding, just having fun, I think it was the biggest thing for me on the individual side is having fun and then bringing my guys with me, knowing that I'm not doing things alone. Not saying I was my first year starting, but just being in the mindset of like, hey, I can look to my left and right, and I have Jason, Eli on my left, D-Man and Nava, or D-Man, DT, or, whatever combination is there. And they trust me fully. I can turn around if Pinnick, trusted me. And I think that's the biggest thing too, is more so the realization and just being present is one of the biggest things. Obviously, gonna make mistakes, things happen, and I think that's been the biggest change for me is kind of my mindset and how I view not only the game but myself and also my brothers who I go to fight with. So those are the biggest things for me.
Yeah, that's really interesting stuff. You said Pinnick, and it got me thinking. So actually, back in the day, my wife and I got married right after UC Davis. We moved down to Pasadena, and I coached at John Muir High School, historic public high school in North Pasadena. And we had a lot of dudes. It was a really fun year. We went to CIF Southern Section semis, won 11 games, and I got to coach O-line. And we had a quarterback. His name was Dejon Williams. We called him Day Day. He went to play at New Mexico State. He was a dude. If he's still got his YouTube highlight clip, it is the most entertaining highlight clip. He would do some crazy things. But coaching O-line with the quarterback who could run all over and still be trying to throw, though. Like, he would be scrambling for 7 seconds and still be trying to throw. Caden is much more polished than Day Day. Sorry, Day Day. But I would imagine it's a lot different than last year when you were blocking on pass plays for Miles.
Yeah.
You guys would do rollouts and stuff to get him out of the pocket, but he's much more of like a traditional pocket passer, get rid of it quick. What's it been like this year having Caden back there who has such like a mobile element to his game?
Well, a lot of people don't know this. I've been dealing with Caden now for 4 or 5 years now. Playing him in high school. He went to Durham, which is our rival at Granite Bay. So I joke with him. I said I used to want to take his head off, a couple years ago playing D line, trying to chase him around. So I've been seeing it. He's a special player, special person as well. But just up front, we understand how talented he is, so we do whatever is possible, wherever he needs. I mean, if he's gonna scramble for 7 seconds, we're gonna try and block for 8. So that's the mindset. Obviously, it's different. It did take a little bit of adjusting, just understand like, hey, Miles Hasting he likes to throw from a certain spot versus Pinnick. Hey, spot could be here, also could be 8 to 10 yards outside the pocket. Regardless, block within your technique. Let him be him, but also protect him by any means necessary. There's a lot of clips you'll see him scramble. He may get a 3-4 yard. He may take a hit late outside the pocket, but we're all running over to help him up. Even though we can't, may not be able to block all 53 yards wide, we're going to help him up regardless. So that's been kind of our mentality, do whatever he needs. So.
Yeah. Is there, I guess, a follow-up on that? Like, if you see him break the pocket, like, do you have specific like rules, or does like Mike, who your Coach Cody, we actually played together, does Mike or Coach Cody have specific parameters for you guys? Like, hey, you take them with the flow of the play, or how do you guys manage that?
Just same with the flow. The biggest thing is blocking the space. Just football 101. Don't get your hands outside your frame. That's just simple thing. And outside that, we kind of look at it's backyard football. Like, hey, dude might be could be blocking someone head up, and all of a sudden he's in the dead sprint left. Hey, might have to let your hand goes and just run with him. Just pretty much do what you can. It's not necessarily a set technique per se, as far as like, oh, do X, Y, Z, but it's also, do what you can, play ball though, and play smart ball. So that's the biggest thing for my big MC.
Yeah. Well, Dwight's joining us now. Dwight, we'll tee you up for the next question. I'll give you a second to think about one. We were kind of making our way back to the beginning. We've talked about selection show. We've talked about, even the banquet and some of the game yesterday. And we're making our way back to a couple things that we want to hit on, which is kind of Zaire's story growing up in Sacramento. And even like what your experience or understanding of the Causeway was, and then we'll get to the podcast and even like kind of how you first found the game. But I think I'll ask you about that high school, being from Sacramento and playing at Granite Bay your last couple of years, and then knowing that UC Davis and Sac State were like such rivals. Like, had you been to a Causeway before? Like, what was your understanding and experience with the rivalry?
So I never been to a Causeway before, getting to college. I have attended a couple Davis games. I believe it's funny enough, I think it was actually the 2018 team. Now I reflect on it. I don't remember exactly what games, but around the time when I first moved to Sacramento area, there was that. And then also in the recruiting stage, as I got older, I started learning more about more schools. Like, yeah, like most young kids, about the SECs, Big Tens. But then thinking more locally, like even learning about Cal, now Davis, and then Sac State being 10 minutes from my house and learning about that. But I would say growing up in Sacramento, it never the green team never really felt right regardless. So I think things worked out like that. Actually, one of my coaches from U football is a former Davis alum as well. So seeing that, so I kind of think things. He took me to my first Davis game out here. I believe it was I think it was a blowout game at home. It might have been at Cal Poly. I don't know if it was 2018 or not, but it was Cal Poly at Davis. Doss was there. It was a Doss year. So just like the more I reflect on growing up in Sacramento, a lot of people who had helped me on my journey I actually came from Davis. So I think things kind of worked out how they were supposed to work out. But prior to getting here, I really didn't know too much about the Causeway Classic, but I did know one thing. I don't like the green team. So I think it worked out.
Yeah. I big fan Zaire, man. First time, what is it? First time caller, long time listener, long time fan. Been watching you, man, and been excited to get you on the pod. I know we've been trying to make it work, so what a better day than the day after, what happened yesterday. And yeah, Stingers down for sure. And I don't know, I came in late, so if y'all covered this, just keep it moving. But, one of the things I've appreciated just observing what I can see of your story, and, we're all multifaceted, but you seem like a dude with many interesting facets that you're cultivating, quite frankly, like that I wish I was cultivating when I was your age. But I resonate with what I observe as you as a storyteller, right? You as a teammate, you as an advocate for your community. So I'm just curious, like, how you would define the different facets of who you are. Obviously, you have this role on the field that we all know and see, but there's so many other kind of angles to it, and it's so powerful to see it, because I think about a lot of guys that Brock and I played with, maybe a lot of guys that you played with. There's a hyper focus on one part of the identity, right? The athlete part of the identity, which is great. But I think part of setting yourself up for success as we explore what life offers whenever we do hang up the cleats, whenever that might be, is to develop all those facets. And I see you from afar, man. I'm like, that dude is doing that. Like, he's really developing all these different pieces and they all fit together beautifully. So just want to appreciate that and ask for you to talk a little bit about how you see that. Is that really intentional? Is that just how things have unfolded in your life? And how would you define the different facets of Zaire?
First of all, thank you. But I feel like for me, if I were to kind of, describe my identity or just kind of who I am, I feel like I'm a good dude who just likes to help people. A lot of people have asked me the question of, what do you want to do, after football, or, what's your whole purpose? And I think the biggest thing for me, I'm not chasing a label or a title. I'm more so chasing helping people. And I know it may sound cliche, but like generally, like even us, just I like to network and meet new people. With there being 8 point wherever billion people on earth, you know, everybody's unique. So like for me, yes, I have the podcast. We just partnered with doing a toy drive. Or was that Friday? Friday night, right before the game. I was on the Zoom, setting up a toy drive. So like stuff like that. Short films, like you said, storyteller. I like to learn about people. Obviously, my major is sociology. Study of people in social settings. All of that. But like the field itself intrigues me. Just learning about different aspects of life, I think, is very intentional to me. I try to treat everyone, the same as far, when you meet someone new, give people grace and just really understand where people are coming from. And then just like tying that into football. I mean, you play with 100 new guys every year, essentially. There's going to be different backgrounds. And I think for me as a leader and as a center, I gotta be able to adapt and learn everybody. It's hard to trust someone if you don't know them. So that's kind of the biggest thing for me, not just on the field, but in life is in general. Even my podcast, everyone I've had on my pod or everyone I've like talked to, usually I've been talking to them months in advance, trying to learn them, not even with the intention of being on the podcast, but just as a genuine connection. It just happens to line up that way. So, to answer your question about like who Zaire is, he's a good dude. It just happens. I'm 6'3", 300 some pounds, and kind of decent at football. So, and that's kind of how I look at it. And then just maximize my opportunity. I'm at a great school, top
Yeah.
schools in the country. Just maximize my opportunity. I think a lot of that's credit to how I was raised. Just like seeing how they treat people, also how they raised me and my younger siblings. Like we're my mom and my parents, I feel like, did a good job of raising good people. Not necessarily a good athlete or a good, networker or a good this, is like being a genuine good person. And I think that's kind of how I was raised, and just maximizing where I'm at. Even when I was at Granite Bay, obviously, I live in Alabama, attending Granite Bay, different demographic, different, financially, but even there, being able to relate to people was huge. And then even a lot of my buddies are at, schools like Grant or like Intercom, who again, different demographic, different financial situations, and still being able to walk into several different rooms, be able to relate and hold conversation with people and just be genuine. I think is big, and who I am as a person. So yeah.
Man, that's powerful, man. I mean, I really don't think it's cliche at all to have a passion to help people. I used to be an advisor for a little bit on campus for, I think, right before your time working with student athletes. And it is a really powerful piece. People will come into my office. They're like, yeah, I want to help people, so what does that mean for what major I have? And it was all about, listen, you're going to change your major probably. I think the average at the time was like people changed their major 6 times over their college career. And like students come in with this perception that whatever I major in locks me into how I'm going to help people and make an impact in the world. And the reality is, from Brock and I's vantage point, listen, you're going to get that degree. And then it's going to be those intangibles, the things you learn about how you want to move through the world that really drive the opportunities that you have. So it's powerful to hear you already kind of on that path of awareness. And it sounds like your experiences, your parents, other people in your life have helped to shape you, bro. I really appreciate your approach and just getting to hear a little bit of it. I wanted to ask you, just to click deeper on one of the things that I've seen from tracking is the kind of the stuff that you put out through On the Lines, especially the film component. And I want to ask you specifically about two pieces that I've found super meaningful, and I know that, you know, many people, if they haven't discovered or tapped into this, would probably benefit from it. Your pieces on, I think it was the therapy video and then the mental video, really talking about the stuff that we don't talk about in our communities sometimes, is how important it is to take care of your mental. And so I wanted to appreciate you for shining a spotlight on that, for, no matter what point you are at in life, you know, mental health is something that you have to pay attention to, and you have to have consistent consistent support. And I know, like, moving through college is this period where you're, experiencing all different types of dynamics and growth and challenges. So talk a little bit about that, man. Why did it feel important for you to tap into those, specific topics?
I think the biggest thing for me was like earlier before you had joined, we had talked about kind of confidence in my first year starting versus my second year starting. That was the biggest thing for me. And I did go through kind of a rough patch in life. Nothing too concerned, but just more so just like self-doubt. And I felt a lot of athletes could relate to that. And then when it came to the film space, also like helping people as well, but like I like creating art. I'm big in the music. I don't know if you guys can see the album covers behind me right here, but I'm big in the music, big in the art.
Yep.
So being able to kind of combine my passion for helping people and bringing awareness and connecting it to the film space, I think is huge. And then it was something that kind of like when I create films like that, sometimes selfishly it's for me. Um, I do believe it helps people, but like that's something I need to do. I did a mental health one. For the athlete, I also did something for Black women, what makes them happy. Just certain topics that either directly affect me or I feel that's needed in the community. But yeah, going back to like my last year starting, just some things off the field I felt, kind of were weighing on me, and I just felt so like I'm a type of person I can't really hold things inside. Obviously how you see me post on social media, and sometimes that's my way of like, hey, yeah, like maybe let me throw like a cool little cloud picture. That's it. That I thought was pretty dope. With some music on there I like. That's good for me. And sometimes not for anyone else, but you never know who exactly is watching, or who the message may hit. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, all I'd say to that is keep doing it, man. Keep doing that. Cause like you said, you never know who's watching. It definitely blessed me, caused me to reflect on that period of my life and the period of life that I'm in right now. And be like,
Yeah.
yeah, I need to be taking care of that. So I appreciate you, man. And keep doing it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll just echo that too, man. You know, I've talked on the pod a bit about like art, I would say as well, and creativity, and reading through a book that's been impactful this fall for me, and just how a lot of times people don't create because of the fear of the audience or the fear of the response or just the fear of man, to be honest. And the fact that, you can be honest enough to say like, hey, a lot of times I'm just creating this for me. But we know that like when anything of I think substance is created by someone who has a passion behind it, like it's gonna impact other people because you mentioned it, there's 8 billion of us. And sometimes the social media world can make us feel like we're so different from one another, but we're not. We get that. Like we all have the same emotions. We all go through trials and hardships in life. They're different. There's different spectrums and whatnot, and there are different cultures and backgrounds and that sort of thing. And we can relate to people who are different from us. And like you said, growing up in Antelope, going to Granite Bay, like my roommate at UC Davis, Matt Klingler, Dr. Matt Klingler, Dwight lived with him as well. He was on the wrestling team before it got disbanded. He went to Granite Bay, and I remember going to watch them play Lincoln and Stockton in the playoffs and just kind of getting a feel for that brand. And yeah, very different environment than like a Grant or Intercom, like you're saying, but all great programs in that area. So few more kind of fun questions as we kind of wrap up the time. And thanks for sticking with us, because we know that's been a little crazy with the internet. You've had goggles. Goggles were a thing, and your boy Pickett wants to know, like, are these gonna make a return or are they extinct?
Well, they're not extinct. This is the first time they've been out. They've been on the injury report this year, but can't say when. But they will. Goggles will be making a return. Can't say when, but they will for surely be making a return.
All right, we got it. Probably Ari or someone from the UC Davis equipment staff says, can you ask him why his favorite staff to bug is the equipment room? Also, what is his favorite smoothie from the market?
Oh, okay. I see what she's doing here. I'll answer the second part first. Favorite smoothie from the market. Inside joke. I usually stop by the EQ room after leaving the EQ room to go pick up a smoothie, and they give me some tough times for not offering to bring some back. So that's on me. My favorite one though is Love Spell. I believe it's a strawberry. It's like a strawberry vanilla milkshake with some cherry or something in there. It's a lot of stuff in there, but it tastes good. I'll tell you that. It tastes good. But I really truly I love our EQ team, man. They do so much work. We're getting back from places at 3 a.m. in the morning, and I look up and I'm getting in there Sunday for rehab at 10, and they're leaving at 1 the next day, and 1 p.m. the next day, and it's like, oh yeah, we haven't left. So like stuff like that. Like I know I bug them, but it's also just try to show my appreciation and lie in the room sometimes. I know it could be stressful and hectic in there, but I truly do appreciate all the work they do, and they do a lot of work behind the scenes that people don't know about. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, we know you're about lifting other people up, man. You want to help people in life, and you're already doing it with the toy drive and the podcasts and all the stories that you're already telling while a college student, which, like Dwight said, blows my mind. I was a sociology major too, but I was not on this level. And so kudos to you. But I want you to talk about your offensive lineman teammates, because this is an unsung hero group that hasn't gotten as much shine on the podcast as they should have. And so I just kind of want you to maybe go through that room and kind of give us, I mean, even if it's just like a random fast fact about each guy, like Eli Simonson smells terrible or whatever it is. Like, we want to know all the deets on all these guys.
Oh man, no, we got Big Cornhusker, Eli. That's my guy. Doesn't say a whole lot, but he blocks really well. He's low key. I'm not his player, but he likes to have fun. That's my guy. With Goldilocks, Jace Rodriguez. I joke with him. It's my Spanish brother. He knows what I'm talking about. But no, he's fun guy. I was gonna say me and his girlfriend actually share the same birthday. So that's a fun fact. Then going to my right, D-Main, big wave. He has small feet. Ernesto, Nava, doesn't like pigeons. I'm ratting out the guys a little bit. Let me David Portisano. What was I gonna say? He's just funny. Some inside jokes with him, but he's a funny dude. We have Henry, who transferred from JUCO in the Bay Area. We joke with him, Hungry Henry, but he's a big anime guy. So that's my nerd twin. Me and him, kick it here and there. Royce from Washington, so his brother trainer, Cleveland, fun guy as well. Just a lot of fun memories with the guys behind us. And it's the whole line room. This is the closest we've been since I've been here. I think it's the closest we've been in a while. So far as like little fun facts, something obviously I can't tell you guys everything, but this is like the legit the quote for the boys. That is the whole line room, and it's bigger than just the front five. It's really all 15 of us, even the freshmen. I redshirt freshmen, all 4 of them. It's the first time you'll see a 6-year hanging out with a guy who's been in for 4 months, and you couldn't tell the difference. So yeah, the O-line room, we're so close, and just the trust is it's insane.
That's awesome, man. One more, and then Dwight, if you have anything to close. I already mentioned Coach Cody was a teammate of ours. What can you tell us
Yeah.
about Coach Cody as a coach? We only know him as about a 50 pounds heavier man who was a hell of a blocking tight
Yeah.
end.
He is so detailed, and he's very passionate, I think, as a coach, and I think that's what makes him him. And I think a lot of people either, you know, underlook or overlook or however you do it, but, like, for me being in that room, the fact that, understanding on certain plays, understanding, detailing out for me at center and even our tackles and guards is like, hey, this motion is going to affect how you change your leverage on this block. So, hey, on this play, alert this for Pinnick so we can make sure you guys are right to help him. And like the detail of that, obviously being in the room, it's a certain language that only we can speak. And then just Cody as a whole, just, Grass, that's my guy, great dude. When he recruited me, just being transparent, and I think again, not to harp on the fourth boy, but he's for the boys. He's like just talking to him. We can be, fourth quarter versus Montana last year. We can crack a joke and laugh about it. Like, they got us. Or like, hey, good run. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, it wasn't pretty, but we got it through. So that's him as a coach, but I think it makes it fun, and it's very detailed, and just he demands a certain standard from us, and we all understand it's coming from a right place to push us to be better. So yeah.
Has he shown you
And
the pictures of his long flowing hair from back in
yeah,
the day?
I mean, we're trying to get him to bring it back, but I don't know, you might be scared. I don't know. I'm calling you out, Cody. But nah, nah, we've seen all the pictures of it with the long hair. It trips us out every
Yeah,
time. But
man.
it's all good fun.
Yeah, believe it or not, both Brock and I had a flow of some kind. I wouldn't say it was ranked in the top, the pantheon of
Yeah.
great flows, but it's just something that we did. But yeah, tell Cody we're on the team. We're on team. Coach Cody, tell him we're on team. Bring back the
Yeah.
flow.
Oh yeah,
But
I'm gonna
listen,
tell him for the playoffs.
yeah, for sure. Man, appreciate you taking the time. Like I said, we've been looking forward to this. Sorry to be a little bit late, but we always give our guests the final word, man. So you know who listens. Your teammates,
Yeah.
parents, fans, folks that are on this roller coaster, man, supporting the Ags. So want to give you the final word as we get ready to log out, and as you go get ready to take a little break and then prepare for the playoffs.
Well, for whoever's listening, obviously go Ags, support us. Energy is that it's contagious. So just support us at all times, and then just on a human level, make sure you guys enjoy every moment. Don't take anything for granted, and just be nice to people. Always look to help someone, and always believe in you. You're one of one in a world of 8 billion. You're one of one. So, um, you know, biggest thing for me is just stay blessed, man, and have fun.
Beautiful. Yeah, thanks,
Yeah,
man.
I didn't know, I know how to end that.
No, that's it, man. It's beautiful, and I think it's well said. It lived up to the hype. We knew it would be a fire episode with you, man. We're rooting for you every step of the way. Like any way we can support you while you're playing, after you're playing. We're always going to be rooting for you, and we're so glad that you're leading that unit and that you're a leader on this team, and you represent Aggie Pride really well. You represent everything really well. So, yeah, thanks again for joining the show, and we'll be seeing you in a couple weeks back in Shredville.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Thank you guys for having me. What you guys are doing is so great. Like I know you guys started last year, right during the year. So like this is sick, man. And I just like you have no idea. I think especially for us here at Davis, the coverage that you guys do and the work, it brings a whole new different element to the team. And like I'm learning things like I'll be learning fun facts and learning stuff about the program. And I was just like, oh, they posted it. You know what I mean? So you guys are doing a great job, and I really do admire what you guys do. So keep it up.
Thanks, man.
Feelings mutual, bro. Appreciate you. Go Ags.